So it's been a little while since I've done an affordable vintage video, and today I have a really awesome watch, one that I have had for actually quite some time now and I have not done a video on, and I'm really disappointed in myself because I think this is a phenomenal watch for an exceptional price. This is the Bulova Chronograph D. Now you guys know I'm a huge Bulova fan. I think they make some pretty amazing watches for very good money. A lot of their watches don't sell very well on the secondary market. That also goes for their vintage watches. They have alarms, mechanical alarms, chronographs, tons of other Swiss-made, really excellent high-end watches that sell for next to nothing. And here is a really good example of one of their chronographs from the 70s. This is obviously a barrel case, very 70s chronograph. It is called the Chronograph D. It has a bi-compax layout. There's some really good color on the dial. You have what I think might be a replaced chronograph hand there. It's in orange, but the dial is original and very faded. As you can see, it has a gray dial with a little window there at the date, which is at the 6 o'clock, which is actually really nice. I like that. I don't typically like dates. I think this looks really good, and I think it works pretty well. This register here should have a little bit more orange in it. So there's little sections of the actual sub-register that are orange sort of bars, but they're faded, very faded. And then you have an orange chronograph hand right there, black chronograph hand on this white sub-dial there at the 9 o'clock. You have applied indices, and then you have a white tachometer that goes all the way around the dial. Beautiful dial, a little bit of a layering sort of, but a lot of different colors, and it just looks really sharp, really vintage. Everything that you would want from a 1970s chronograph, that style, and it has it. The crown also was replaced because the crown on here would say Bulova on it. However, this one does not. And there's a few other little details on this watch. Obviously, the strap is not original. It says Strapco right there because this is a Strapco. And it has it's a gray suede, which matches the dial really well. That's why I chose this. I think it works awesome with this watch. The crown has been replaced. I think those hands have been replaced. Obviously, not an original strap or buckle. The case back is original, but unfortunately, someone actually engraved it with the letters GAL. This came from Israel, so I don't know any significance that might have, unless it was Gal Gadot, and I've said this a few times when I've been wearing it. I have no idea. I know she's Israeli, and she's pretty beautiful, so that would be awesome if this was her watch. Probably not. Anyway, then inside here, you get a Valjoux 7734 hand-wound Swiss-made chronograph movement. I'll throw a picture of it up just so you guys can see. It's actually not that bad looking. It's in very good condition. I've opened it up a few times. Just a really cool watch. Now, the case itself is also a little bit weird because this should be brushing on the top of the case, and then there should be a chamfered polished edge, and then brushing on the sides of the case. However, instead, what we have here is basically brushing on the sides, polished crowns and pushers. And then on the top, we have sort of like a bead blasting, which actually goes over onto that chamfered edge. Now, I think it was refinished by somebody. It was probably really scratched up. And what they decided to do was just a completely different finishing. And I wish they didn't do that. I would have rathered it the other way. But the reason why I bought this anyway is because of the price. I paid $390 on eBay for this. And I don't think you can beat that. I honestly think that's one of the best deals that you can get on eBay, and that's not untypical. I think these sell pretty regularly in that price range, around $500. Now, to put that in perspective, there are brands out there, micro brands, who sell watches with the ST19. That is a movement that's based on a Venus movement, a vintage Venus movement, which has ties to Valjoux. Also, and then that is obviously made by Seagull, and it is a completely machine-made chronograph. It is a column wheel. This is not a column wheel, just to put it in perspective as well. Let me just start the chronograph. It's a really nice chronograph. It actually is very smooth. Now, those watches that I'm talking about with the ST19 do sell between $300 and $500. Some of them are a little bit cheaper. However, you're getting a cheaper watch. You're not going to get a dial like this And obviously it's not Swiss made. Those are Chinese made, which is not bad. However, for a person who's looking for a manual winding chronograph, something that is vintage, you could actually go out and pick up something really cool for the same price range that you would pay for one of those new watches. Now, I don't always recommend that because obviously you're going to have problems with the vintage watch. It's never going to work 100% of the time, and you just have to accept that. If you're willing to accept that, this is a really good deal, and it's something that you can keep for a very, very long time. They're still in style. I mean, this is definitely, a lot of brands are coming out with watches that look exactly like this and are charging way more. And even watches are brands, major brands are actually reissuing watches like this. Bulova actually reissued the chronograph. I think it's the Chronograph C, which is the surfboard chronograph. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I am, I'll just put a comment below. But I think it was the Chronograph C. I've actually had it on this channel. And they charge for around $2,500 or $3,000 for that. And then they have a quartz version, which is still more expensive than this. Let's do dimensions. And then I'm going to do a very quick Lume shot. This does have Lume. It is not good, but we will do it. It is old Lume. So 38.2 millimeters. This wears like a 38 millimeter. I'm going to show it to you on my wrist. That's what it is, 38 millimeters. You do get an acrylic crystal. Lug to lug is 43 millimeters, including the domed boxed acrylic crystal. It is 13 millimeters in width. Now, Hodinkee actually had one of these for sale recently. I think they charged $1,200 for it. So that tells you that this is really a pretty cool watch that should be selling around the $500 mark. If Hodinkee are charging $1,200, it should be in that $500 range. That's how I gauge things when I see it on Hodinkee. But anyway, pretty damn cool watch. Let me show you what I have on my wrist. Today I have my Vacheron. This is the Traditional in rose gold. Just an immense watch. There is the movement right there. World time movement. Beautiful, beautiful watch. So 7.5 inch wrist. This is 43 millimeter lug to lug, which is very, very tight, but it's a barrel case, obviously, so that works. And then a 38 millimeter width, 13 and change on the thickness. Beautiful watch. Look at that. A lot of style. When I wear this, I get a lot of questions about it because it is just cool. It's just a cool watch. Anyway, quickly, let's do a Lume shot and then we'll wrap up the video. So I actually have to keep the light on here because it fades pretty much immediately. You could see there is really no Lume to speak of left. That's how I know this is an original dial. You get a little bit of Lume on the hour hand. That's pretty much it. There's nothing left on this watch. And you could see when I hit it with this light, the UV light, you could actually see those little bars that I'm talking about on the sub register at 3 o'clock. That is, those are the ones that are completely faded away. You could only see it under the UV light. And then when I take the UV light off, it just basically fades immediately, and that's it. But again, vintage watch, 1970s. The fact that there is Lume still remaining and it hasn't come off, I'm happy about that. I think it's just a really good looking watch. It's actually pretty well made. It's from Bulova, one of my favorite brands. If you guys haven't realized that by now, I really do love Bulova. I think they make some amazing watches. But that's really it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch? What do you think about what I said? I'm not trying to rock any boats. It's just for conversation purposes. I really do love the ST19. I love those watches as well. But if you want something that's a little bit more interesting, this is very, very interesting. And it's an original. That's kind of where I was going with it. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Please also don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. It is super helpful for the channel. I very much appreciate it. It helps me bring you these videos on a regular basis. Please also follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is WatchChrisBlog. I have some links in the description. Those links are to Amazon. If you click those links and buy anything, it helps support the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra. However, I very much appreciate it. Anyway, thank you for logging on. I'll catch you guys in the next video.